You could get Blur versus 5 opponents on rank for an undercard. That is a sick idea. That is a perfect segue into... This is going to be a little bit interactive. I actually want to I don't want this to just be me. I want this to be about all of us. I want chat to participate a little bit. I saw this tweet and... I ratioed Blur. I saw this tweet and I actually didn't know how to respond at first. I had 5 responses I wanted to make. First of all, I didn't even know this was even a fight that was still happening. But okay, whatever. The Majesty is right. Melee isn't a fighting game. How can it be when 90% of the player base feels entitled to winning by just spamming mindless muscle memory and hoping their cheater controller carries them some meaningless victory? The worst part is that sometimes it works. It's funny because in a way, okay, there's 2 thoughts here. I think there's spamming mindless muscle memory, and then there's hoping their cheater controller carries them some meaningless victory. The first thing is, I think this is kind of true in a weird way. And what I mean by this is, in Melee, you definitely can just beat people who are, if I go on unranked, if I log on unranked and I run into Blur, I definitely, if you're significantly better than somebody, you definitely can win by just spamming mindless muscle memory. It's actually true. You want 100%. If you're better than, Armada literally doesn't activate a single neuron in his, Armada activates the part of his brain. Not anymore, he doesn't play Melee anymore, but when Armada used to compete, you could turn on a stream and he would fucking four-stalk his brother. Shout out to Android, I love Android. This is not meant to be a shot against Android. But Armada literally would be reading chat and responding to questions about life in chat and borderline not even looking at the screen. Not even activating a single gameplay related brain cell. It was insane. That's the kind of game Melee is. If you're not down for that, you shouldn't play Melee. Mango, same way. I've seen Mango, dude, I remember back in the day, Mango would be playing Fiction. Fucking Fiction, right? Top 10 player. You'd go on Fiction stream and he's super, intense, locked in. And again, I'm just saying this is how good you can get. And you go on Mango stream and he's fucking joking around, taking swigs of whatever, if he's drinking something or if he's just having a good time, listening to music, talking to chat. Yeah, exactly. Fiction's trying to level up. Exactly. For Mango, it's a Tuesday. That's how it is. If I run into Blur on unranked, that is how it works. It sounds like you're insulting people, but in a way, if you're losing to people who are spamming mindless muscle memory, you only have yourself to blame. That's the game. Melee is a very physical game. But yeah, I mean, they're like sports from that manner. They're literally like sports, right? In any sport, you can know all the theory, but clearly, you have to be able to execute. You have to be able to move your body such that you can actually do what needs to be done to win. Melee is actually the same way in a lot of ways, and not every fighting game is like this. Not every video game is like this. Tekken with Cold Hands is gonna make you rethink your life. Do we have any Tekken players in chat actually that can weigh in on this? Because I've played other fighting games, right? I've played other fighting games at a decently high level, like Granblue Versus. I would say Granblue Versus. I entered tournaments in that game. The OG stream viewers know I used to stream Granblue Versus when it was popping off, and I would stream my tourney runs. I would wake up, I would roll out of bed at 10 a.m. and I would turn on my computer and literally play round 1 of bracket with no warm up. But you don't need to warm up in that game. It's not a physical game. You can, because there are even you're using a fight stick. The hard execution stuff might be there might be specific timings, but even with Cold Hands, you can hit, or you could do a plank or something, but you can hit a button with a specific timing. Whereas with a GameCube controller, you sometimes, if your hands are cold, you actually cannot move the control stick the way you want to because it's analog. A wise man named Crush once said all the skill in Melee is in the left hand. And I think that probably remains true. I would say that in general, what makes Melee so technically, so physical is the fact that you reach a point where usually you're gonna get your button inputs more or less correct, maybe, with the exception of multi-shining. But getting your stick inputs precise really is the hard part of Melee. And I guess I could see that with stuff like Korean backdashing, stuff like that, 4-4-3-4, that's the kind of thing that I could see being quite physically demanding in that sense. Yeah, the thing about playing on box, Bobby was saying, box, is he was saying you don't need as much warm up. You can kind of it's kind of like playing on a fight stick in the sense that you can kind of wake up, sit down, and you don't feel like you need to warm your hands up to play. I actually want to what I think would be really interesting? I actually want to ask a pad player, like a fighting game pad player, like Sonic Fox or something. I want to ask them do you feel like you need some sense of warm up, and do you feel like it's more than you would need on a stick? Because my theory is you need more warm up on a game on a game pad, right? Or even. That's how I feel. But you know what's funny? Coming back to the Blur tweet, you know what's really funny about this? Speaking of hoping their cheater controller carries them to some meaningless victory, I just thought the timing was ironic comparing Melee to the FGC here, because just today, my good friend Vineeth, a prominent member of the fighting game community, was roasting hitboxes, and he said, seeing your favorite old school fighting game player switch to hitbox like seeing your favorite uncle buy an NFT. Okay, the NFT comparisons aside, he's basically saying it's funny because I was watching Kimono Michi with Kawano versus Tokido. Quick aside here, anyone who hasn't seen Kawano Kawano versus Tokido. They played a long set. It was a best of 5 of best of 5s, or best of 3 of best of 5s. You have to, like, when you get a point when you win the best of 5, and then you play up to 3 sets total. And it was funny because, you know, Kawano sponsored by Hitbox. He's playing on Hitbox. Tokido, though, Tokido was also playing on a Hitbox. And I was like, oh, these guys both play on Hitboxes. And then Daigo, of course, everyone knows Daigo switched to Hitbox. I'm like, damn, all the Street Fighter players, they really did all switch to Hitbox. Like, all the 40-year-old Street Fighter pros, the Street Fighter veterans, they all play, not all, obviously, I'm sure some of them don't, but I was like, damn, they really do all play on Hitbox now. Okay, but watch, there's a part here with, he calls it a death game, dude. I gotta brand King of the Cube as a death game. See, look, that's Tokido. See that? Tokido's playing on a fucking hitbox. He playing on a cheater box. They call it a cheater box. This is Tokido right here. This isn't Kawano. This is Tokido playing with Urien. When they cut to the scene of both players, you can see they both see. Look, he's got a hitbox, and then Tokido has his. I guess Tokido's not playing on a hitbox. He's playing on, I guess it's a lunchbox. I think it's a lunchbox. It's like a hitbox style controller. It's a lot thinner. So it's just funny how, you know, this is literally like happening in the FGC, like in the fighting game community. Like, this was a big deal like a couple years ago especially, but even now, like, you know, people talking about like, man, hitboxes have such an advantage over sticks, like blah blah blah. And so if you want to be like, yo, Melee is whack now because people are arguing about their controllers and people are using all these, you know, it actually, Blur is actually disproving his own point here, because in complaining about cheater controllers, he is making the Melee community even closer to the FGC than he ever could have predicted. So Blur's wrong in like every sense imaginable. But I think what's most funny of all is that, you know, I was thinking about what prompted Blur to make this tweet. And at the end of the day, you know, he just got done getting trunched by some Netplay Falcos. You know, the Netplay Falcos, they descended upon him like vultures today. That's 100% right. I think we can all agree that what prompted this tweet from the Blur, 100% he got done playing on ranked and he was feeling bad about his life. I think there's no other explanation. The young Waffle, let's go through the replies. Feels like I really let out my inner Shepard Lima with this. And how'd I do, Fiction? You are brain level 1. I don't even know why I said is. Why did he correct this to is? If anything, R is better grammar than you is brain level 1. This is shout out to this is my boy Taryn. I used to go to school, and when I lived in Seattle, Taryn was one of my close friends. He used to be roommates with Silent Wolf, actually. This is one of Silent Wolf's old roommates. Taryn linked dictionary definition for the word tragic. You hate to see that. So we just I'm taking this aside, you're getting better at the game. Old Blur would have took the L and talked about how good everyone is now. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I like that. This is a good reply. Everyone give Brandon more likes, please. That's right. Blur's actually getting salty. I like to see the salt. I do like to see the salt. But by the way, you know what's funniest about this tweet? Is this also, I like how we're all universally agreeing that Blur just got done getting his ass beat on unranked. Because Brandon's also replying from the point of view of like, oh, I guess you just got done getting your ass beat on unranked. Like, everyone knows it. Everyone knows that's the context for this tweet. Like, no one needs to like ask, like make sure, like Brandon's just like, okay, cool. You just got your ass beat, but you're salty about it and you're trying to get better. Okay, respect. Shout out to Bobby Siege. I thought this was really funny for some reason. I do really want to see Blur deadlifting. I think that'd be so true, Blur. Right, that's another, dude, people are tearing this one up. People are tearing this Blur tweet up. Blur spin. Dude, don't ratio KJH. Come on, man. I don't think he meant to. This guy just accidentally ratioed KJ. You can't ratio KJH. Glindy's way too cool to get ratioed. Heartbreaking, the worst person. You know, just made a great point. I actually don't think it's the greatest point, so I'm not gonna like this one, but Blur, you play hard. Holy shit. Oh, these replies are hilarious. Come on, kids, about it ratioed. He knew what he was signing up for. He knew what he was signing up for. You can't make this tweet. Well, I don't know. The thing is, Blur actually could. Like, Blur actually is the kind of guy who would make this tweet and be like, no, people are gonna fucking agree with me. No. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.